All right, so now we're recording again. Good. So anybody want to say anything or ask anything before we continue?
We were talking about the importance, maybe the importance of providing our students different kinds of people speaking English. So they can get used to New Zealand people or Brazilian people or whatever, you know, so they can practice their listening.
Yes, that's a very nice idea. Yes, I mean, YouTube is a wonderful place. There's lots of stuff on YouTube. Yeah?
Sorry. I was talking with my group about the idea that Tarsila shared with us in the video, because it's different, the accent and the pronunciation. So a good possibility for training better or a more similar pronunciation is using some digital technologies. So I shared that I use the Google Translator and I put a sentence or a word that I would know how to speak better, and I try to repeat to learn this sound. Sometimes the accent will not be the same, but it's necessary to be intelligible, okay, that another people could understand the word that I say. So
yes, absolutely, that's good. I agree, using technology is a good tool. So these are nice tips. Okay, so trying to find different kinds of accents for students to listen to, using the technology to help us. I think there was someone, Elias had his hand up. Elias.
Yeah, good morning, you all. I was talking to Ana Paula and Mariana about the sounds of English that we find the hardest and the easiest. And I said the R sound wasn't that easy for me. And they said that the TH sound is a kind of hard for them. But then I remember that, if I'm not mistaken, and Kristina can help me with that, that in the north of England, some people don't speak the TH sound like as we were taught, you know, in the standardized accent. Am I right, Kristina?
Yes, yeah. I'll put a little comment, a little sound in the chat. Hold on. If your students really can't pronounce it, if you say it like a th sound, that's more like a London accent. So everything instead of everything, everything. And that actually is intelligible in the UK. All right. I would still try to expose them to a th if you can say it very well, but I wouldn't worry too much about the students being able to produce it, because sometimes they can't hear it. If they can't hear it, they probably can't say it. So it takes a lot of time, but a th sound is actually quite useful. So that's a very good tip, Elias. I agree. There's different ways of making it intelligible. And we were just discussing this with some other teachers in Serbia last week on Thursday. Exactly this point about intelligibility and the th sound. So great question. Super. Anybody else want to stick a hand up and say something? If not, we'll move on. I'll give a couple of examples of some pronunciation activities, if that's okay. And then you'll have more chances to talk. Don't worry. We've got lots of things for us to do today. So, okay. So we have looked a little bit at English as a lingua franca and thought a little bit about what Tarsila said in Portuguese. I didn't understand all of it, but I have an idea because we did talk about the session. And now we're going to look at part 2 of our webinar, which is really about some teaching activities. And then in the third part, you're going to get more chances to practice the activities in breakout rooms. Okay, so what is important for intelligibility? Now, this is where we want to think. So Elias's point is a very good one, that th maybe doesn't make such a big difference, okay, for intelligibility. If you say f or t even, you know, people will probably understand you. People think that the first sound is important. So consonant sounds at the beginning of a word. So the sound in a word like hat, all right? Or the sk sound, okay, like school. We call that a consonant cluster, and I'll put that in the chat here. Consonant cluster. Consonant clusters cause difficulties for people in lots of different countries, so with different accents and pronunciations from their mother tongue. So some people put an at the beginning and they say a school because the sk doesn't come easily, or they say school. I wonder which one you do in your accent. Would you say a school, or would you say school? What do your students do to get around that problem? Okay, we can help our students to realize that in English it is possible to have 2 or 3 consonants at the beginning of a word, and maybe help them with that pronunciation. We can give them examples, and remember, it's not the spelling, it's the sound. So sky, scary, and school all start with the same sound. You would say a school in Brazil. Okay, yes, that's very common. Turkish people do that too. They would say a school. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Elias. We can help them by asking them to make the first sound longer. So school, sky, scary. Okay, that would also help with some of the pronunciation, all right, making it longer. Another thing that can make it hard to understand is the short vowels and long vowel sounds in these kind of short words like sit or seat. Okay, sit or seat. One way we can help them is to actually just either bring a rubber band to class and show them that sit is quite short and seat, the rubber band, is longer. So sit, seat. If you have enough rubber bands, if you trust your students, you can give them a rubber band and ask them to practice, okay? Or they can just pretend that they have a rubber band in their finger and say it, okay? Yeah, and another thing that helps a lot in English to be intelligible is to put the stress on the most important words in a sentence. In some languages, there isn't much sentence stress, okay, but we have that in English, all right? So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and show you something about how this works. And for this, don't unmute yourselves yet, okay? But let's just see. If your name begins, your first name, like my name is Kristina, starts with the letters A to, let's have G. Okay? If your name starts with A to G, so Aida is in that group, Ana Rosa is in that group, Elaine is in that group, okay? I want you to think, you're going to count for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Can you count? Don't unmute yourself, I can see you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? Right, so if your name comes in the next group, let's have H to, I don't know, what can we have? H to N, would that work? We'll try that, okay? Then you're going to say this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so you're going to say to yourself 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, when I say this, I don't pronounce the D much. So listen to me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I just say an. We drop the D a lot. Okay? So the first group are saying 1, 2, 3, 4. And the second group are going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Got it? We're going to do it together. The third group, you're coming later. Don't worry. You will have a role in a minute. Pablo and Patricia and Robson. Okay, so wait. What? Halo? Halo. It's an A sound. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
and 3
4.
and
Don't unmute. No, quiet. Well, first we're going to do it silently. Okay, at the same time as me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm saying it like the first group. Half of you are supposed to be saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and at the same time. Got it? Can you guys unmute yourselves? I only want the first group and the second group right now. Can we try?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to count you in. I'm going to count you in. 3, 4. 1
and 2
and
3
and
4.
No, this is music, guys.
Happened.
This is music. This is not chaos. This is a musical beat. Okay? 3.
1 and
Listen. 3, 4. 1
1 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4.
Because we're on Zoom, we can't do it in perfect timing because of the sound, but in a classroom you can, and you can get the students doing it like a musical beat, okay? The third group come in and they do this. Look in the chat.
1 and
1
2
and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1,
and a 1,
2, 3,
a 1,
1 and 2 and
3
3
and 4 and
and
a
a 1 and a 2 and a
2
3
and a
and a
3
4
and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and
Good, Leandro.
a 1.
That's right. Good. So the point is, how many, when you do it with the class, it's fun. I have one group doing 1, 2, 3, the other one 1 and 2 and a 1 and a 2 and all at the same time, like a chorus. Okay, you become a musical conductor in class. The point is, in English, okay, the stress is the most important thing. So it doesn't matter how many words there are in between the stresses. If necessary, I will to get to the next word, because the stress, the rhythm is important. The stress, the rhythm is important, right? So the stress, those are short words, is important. I have to say that part very quickly to make it fit that third stress. Okay? If you don't do that, it's hard to understand people speaking in English. Okay, so the sentence stress becomes important, and stressing the right word in the sentence. Otherwise, it's very flat. Do you remember Jacqueline's list at the beginning of terminology? Some of you asked about the word flat. This is flat. 1 and 2 and 3 and a, 4 and a. Completely flat. Okay, we don't do that in English. We pick the most important words and we say them a little louder, a little clearer. So it's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. And that is one of the things that makes English sound like English. Try that with your students. It's quite fun and it helps them with their listening, because I think that Portuguese doesn't work exactly the same way. When I listen to the way that you're speaking, you're not using word stress in the same way that we do it in English. We're going to practice this in a little while. Is that fun to do? Later, when you go in a breakout room, you can try it with 3 or 4 people. The sound will not be so difficult as it is with all of us. Okay? So let's just move on quickly so we can get to our next breakout room chat. So saying the most important words in a sentence, okay? I like their new flat. I like their new flat. Flat is stressed. Good, yeah, that's a really fun activity to do with your students. Okay, so teaching pronunciation. One of my questions is, how much time do you need for this? Do you need a long lesson to practice getting students saying h or sk or sk? Or practicing my 1 and 2 and lesson? And where does pronunciation fit in a lesson? So how much time do you need to give to pronunciation? Where does it fit into a lesson? I'm curious what you think. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. If it's okay for this one, I'm going to leave the breakout rooms the same right now. Is that okay? So I just give you 5 minutes. And then we can go on and do the last activity with different people. How's that? Okay, so here you go. You've got 5 minutes to think about this, the teaching of the pronunciation. Cute dog, Liana, by the way.